currently the founder and managing director of CLEARWATER Communications, which is an event and marketing agency. Let me just maybe go back to my, starting days, yeah. So right after I came out from the university, I've always known that I wanted to get into events. So I started with a very local event agency based in Singapore, where I did everything from scratch, sales, conceptualizing the events, executing it. And this first job really gave me a very solid start to my career in events and marketing. So I was also very clear on how I wanted my career to progress. So I wanted to also gain experience beyond Singapore and also have a focus on B2B marketing. So then I moved on to a regional operations role at Köln, which is a German trade fair organizer. And at that time I was responsible for shows in China and also Hong Kong. So already Hong Kong at that time attracted me as a city with its dynamism and its pace. So then, I kind of secretly at that time, I knew I wanted to relocate to Hong Kong, but I wasn't quite ready yet. So I continued working in Singapore for a bit, working in a couple of B2B event marketing agencies specializing in ICT, Infocoms and technology, because at that time it was like the big thing, right, ICT. So I was doing a lot of events at that time for Intel, Microsoft, HP and Apple. So just running all their events, in the region. And also, I remember at that point when I went for interviews, a lot of the bosses were kind of coining me as a job hopper, because I typically never stay in a job for more than a year. But I guess because I was quite clear on what I wanted to get out of a job and how I wanted my career to progress, so I just kind of when I decided that I've gained the experience I wanted to gain, I moved on to something else that I wanted to try out. So that was kind of, and also because I knew that I won't have the stamina to continue, running events all my life, right? So I wanted to achieve the most in my limited time, while I still have the energy. So then, after a couple more years in Singapore, I decided it was time to relocate to Hong Kong. So I was actually actively searching for a job opportunity in Hong Kong. I was offered a job actually at that point in time, but I declined just because the package wasn't right. And then a couple of months later, the same employer called me up to offer me a more attractive offer, a more senior role. So of course I took it, and I just packed myself and went to Hong Kong in less than a month. So I started working for a global event agency called MCI, and I spent 5 years there. So working my way up from being an event manager to the general manager, looking after Hong Kong and Macau, building the business, acquiring new clients and generating revenue. So I was very fortunate to be given a lot of opportunities, traveled extensively, worked in cities all over Asia and Middle East. I had a great team, and I spent a very fulfilling 5 years there. And then after which I moved on to Imagination, which is a very creative experiential agency. And I was basically the GM running their Hong Kong and Macau business at that time. I guess at that point in time also I was toying with the idea of starting my own agency, because I know from the beginning I wanted to start something for myself. So then I think at that point in Hong Kong, a lot of confidence was given to me by my family, my colleagues and my clients actually as well. So that really gave me a big push to start my own agency. So I started CLEARWATER Communications back in 2014. And also I was very lucky at that time to have a very good client who had a big event that he wanted me to manage, and he also offered me his office space to work out of, for the beginning of CLEARWATER Com's time. So that was really a huge encouragement. So I guess back since then I've never looked back. So we are now in our 6 years of business. 2 years ago I started the Singapore office. So now we have offices in Hong Kong as well as in Singapore. I think maybe let me start off with consumers first, right? Because I'm also a huge consumer of things. I love shopping, right? So we've had months of self-isolation, right? So with social distancing, keeping all of us at home, we're seeing a major shift in behavioral trends and our habits with shopping. And how we consume stuff, right? So I guess for the marketers, how we normally label and categorize consumers are not the same, and they are not valid anymore. the data that we used to have on consumers, I feel, do not make any more sense. We need to really craft another set of, I guess, labels, attributes, personas for these consumers. So, and also with every country having a different battle against COVID, it really makes it difficult for marketers to group markets together and generalize them in the way they could pre-COVID. So, I mean, the bottom line is we'll never return to pre-COVID days again, right? I guess this is a new normal. Like, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, I guess it's really the case. It's a new normal. We all just have to really think harder and think more differently about consumers. So I guess for my business, because my CLEARWATER, we specialize mainly in B2B events and marketing, right? So the B2B landscape has also changed. There is definitely a shift to digital from traditional interactions. I guess everyone is now going digital, going virtual. Customers want to be able to trade and interact digitally, but they also want to be able to do so very efficiently and smoothly. I guess e-commerce has been around for actually before pre-COVID, but I guess COVID has kind of made us realize that the e-commerce levels and standards haven't really kind of leveled up to the way it should have been, because it's been around for so long, right? So now companies have to think of ways to connect and network with their customers, and with many of these in-person events being cancelled and the continuing concerns around face-to-face meetings, then the B2B marketers then lean on to digital channels, including like virtual events and other tactics, as well as like paid search, content and email marketing to engage the customers. So I think these are all inevitable in our market now, the B2B market. In events, the change is actually more straightforward, I feel. Face-to-face events have been cancelled, so obviously people then move to virtual. But I guess everyone is now dashing for virtual, right? Then marketers then now need to kind of step back, think carefully, what actually do you want to achieve out of your virtual events, and the experience is going to be very different now. So you have to also be prepared that the ROI is going to be different. How do you measure success? How do you measure your engagement rates is going to be a little bit different. So we are all kind of now just wrapping our heads around, okay, we can't do face-to-face. How do we achieve a similar sort of experience online? And what sort of formats do we want to take online? There are so many different types of online events that we could do. They're slightly different in its own way. So I think finding the right mix of an online event is crucial to us event marketers. So I think for me, I feel that if you really want to kind of be in the industry of be in the marketing industry, what's important is, number one, you need to be very hungry. You need to be hungry for everything. You need to be hungry for the knowledge, for experience, winning clients, winning projects, winning campaigns, gaining consumers' trust and support, gaining your colleagues and staff's trust and support. So I think you need to be hungry for things that matter to the career that you are pursuing, okay? And that's important. And also you need to be harsh to yourself. I think you need to also always strive for quality. Never settle for the second best, because you are not just building your own career. You are actually helping your clients build something, create something, right? So there is a ripple effect. It affects not just yourself, but the bigger market as well out there. So you don't settle for mediocre. Always go for the best. So be harsh to yourself. Number 3 is, I think we need to be very hardy. Because in our world is so tough, right? This market is not a bed of roses. So if you are not resilient and you cannot endure hardships, then I think it's quite difficult to go far or sustain. Right after graduation, I really just picked up the phone and called. Before I pick up the phone, I'll do my research on companies that I would love to join, based on the works they do, based on the clients they work with. So with that research, then I really actively pitch myself to them, right? I don't really look out for the job section or whatever, but I just kind of straight away I zoom into the company. I see I don't really ask whether they have an opening. I just go in and say, I'm keen to join you. Can we have a chat? So I think just be shameless and really go for it. Don't have to be afraid of approaching someone and just demonstrate your passion and your willingness and your eagerness to want to join them, right? And I think if someone kind of comes to Clearwater and say, oh, I'm keen to join you, I will look at a few things. Number one, I will want to see whether this person is street smart. I think being street smart encompasses a lot of things, right? Being street smart, you kind of need to you have a pretty high IQ as well. I think you also are able to navigate your way around situations, handle relationships. So I think being street smart is very important, and it's an important attribute that I kind of look out for when I interview people. The other thing that that I'm very keen to see from potential candidates would be their passion. How much do they really want to be in the industry? So if you come and you tell me, oh, I don't know what I want to do, but it seems quite interesting what you guys do, so I want to join you, that's not very compelling for me. So I really want to see somebody who is very passionate and really just driven and want to be in the industry, and that will, I think, even if you don't have any experience, that two things really would stand out for me, and I will hire you in a heartbeat.